In this video, we're going to show you how to tile the interior of your skimmer with glass tile. First of all, you got to take some measurements, and we're going to make some templates, and we're going to cut our tile, and then we're going to put thinset in there, and we're going to apply it to the interior of that space. As you can see, these tile cuts are going to be center of the row, so it matches the outside tile. And we're going to use a grinder and a wet sponge to do this. The wet sponge and the grinder are going to act much like a wet saw would act. And these are easy cuts because they're straight across. So we're just going to go straight across and horizontal cuts to fill that space. And when you're making these cuts, you can remember that you're going to have a little wiggle room with your grout. So if you're an eighth of an inch off, the grout will fill that. So I sped up the cutting process to about 800 times, and because these are pretty square, they've got a little bit of angle on them, not much, but these are the sides of the skimmer. All right, for the bottom piece, we're going to make a little template using a piece of cardboard. Just going to kind of mark it and try to get it so that it fits in there nice and smooth all the way in. And so we're just looking at it, and he's kind of bending it over. He's going to eye it. Remember, you do have some wiggle room with your grout lines. Measure twice, cut once, right? So he made a couple marks on this, and what he's going to do is going to use his grinder to cut it into the exact shape that we need for the bottom of that skimmer. So he's trying to get the angles perfect on it. And I think got to take a little bit more off this side here. And once we're finished cutting this, what we're going to do is we're going to go back and double check it and make sure that it fits perfectly. And does it fit?
One more time.
One more time. Just a couple more trims on it and we're ready to go. So this one's kind of crucial because it's got to hang out a little bit, but you also want to make sure that it gets all the way back to the skimmer where the skimmer hits, and it fits evenly on the sides. So that's important to get that right. As you can see, when he's putting the template on the tile is 1 by 1 foot and the template's actually larger. So we're going to need at least 2 tiles to create this bottom for the skimmer. Once we've matched up the 2 pieces of tile, making sure that they're going the right way, we can go ahead and cut it. Using the template, we make our initial line cuts. Then we can go ahead and get our sponge and create that wet saw effect to make our nice straight cuts and angles here. So we're just going and slicing that on an angle on the one side, and then we've got to get the other one. He turned it around, but it doesn't matter because it's going to be the same slice. And just cutting through it nice and even, making sure you don't crack the tile, which is important, of course. Once we've got them cut, we got to take them over there and check them out and make sure they fit. Here we go. All right, so we did cut our bottom pieces. Now we've got to put this puzzle together and make sure that it all fits nice and snug. It's not too tight, and there's enough room to do our grout. And looks pretty good. Looks like we might have it. We may have to make a little adjustments. So he's matching the tiles on the side. So you tapered it, basically.
Good. Wait, have a space now.
How's it look?
That's good. I need to want the space for put the tie here.
Yeah.
Another one. Okay.
All right, looks good.
Well,
we've got all of our pieces to our puzzle to line the skimmer. And now all we got to do is make our thinset and set them in there. So we've got to make some adjustments and little cuts on the very edge of the tile so that we can fit everything together. So he's working on that right now so that we can get those pieces to our puzzle all connected and fitting in there properly so they look and align with the exterior tile on the water line. And it looks like we're ready to put our thinset on, and then we're going to go ahead and slap the tile in. And we'll see how beautiful it looks after. And when you're putting the thinset on, you need a trowel that's got teeth on it so you can get those ridges. See how he's kind of pushing, you got that nice ridge on there? And so he's working that thin set around, making sure you've got a good ridge. He's got to kind of like do a twisting, curving one on the bottom. But we're going to get it done, and then we're going to get the tile on there. So next we go ahead and put our pieces in there. You got to make sure that they're in there nice and firm. And you got to find the right piece, of course. So we're putting the side piece on here. This is a shot from inside the skimmer. And we're adding some more thin set here on this side so that we can put the other piece on. Making sure that that's fit. And you remember, you got those teeth and you got to get that thin set everywhere. You want to make sure that that thing's in there good. And we're putting on the left side, and if you look, you're going to notice that we cut the top and the bottom of that tile so that it would match the waterline tile grout lines. That's an important thing. You don't want it to be mismatched. Otherwise, it detracts and takes from the eye. All right, so we put all of our tile in there, and we're going to make sure that we've got our thin set everywhere that it needs to go, which is important. And you want to make sure that it's nice and flat, and that it's adhering to the concrete underneath. There's a little there. He's looking at this, and this one's a little tight here, so the grout line won't look that good. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to switch it with another one so it opens it up, and it gives a better appearance once we grout it. You don't want to butt it right next to each other because then you don't get your white grout line. So this one fits in there better, and that's going to give us a better finishing look. Once we've got all our pieces in there and they've hardened, we're going to put our grout on. And basically what he's going to do is just use his fingers and hands. He's going to smear it everywhere, making sure that he gets all the nooks and crannies, and he gets it in all of those grout lines all the way around. Now on the very top of the skimmer, what we're going to do is put a line of 1x1 glass tile. So we put some thin set on there, and we're just going to go ahead and snake those babies across. And we've got to make sure that we've got enough room there. So it's going to be another couple that have to fit in there. And you've got to make it so that the grout lines are good. So he's opening them up with that blade. And then we're just going to slide that baby in there and throw some grout on it. And make sure that it's in there nice. See, there we go. Throwing a little grout on it. Filling in all of those grout lines. We want to make sure that we've got enough grout and that we've got all of those grout lines filled behind, in front, around, and through. So that's what we're doing right now. And then once you've got it fully grouted with enough grout smushed everywhere, you're going to grab your sponge and you're just going to go inside there and kind of wipe it off, get it nice and clean, dipping your sponge each time into the water, squeezing it out, and slowly but surely work that grout in and get that nice fine finish that we're looking for. Also, as you're going along, you want to make sure that you don't have any wavy movement in it. You want to make sure that it looks polished and straight. So he's kind of made some adjustments, just making sure, trying to get the grout everywhere and get a clean grout lines, really clean grout lines. And that takes a while. You got to do it over and over again with a wet sponge until you get it all worked in there good and it looks nice and clean. And we're slowly but surely getting there. And here's the finished product once the pool was filled. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? All right, if you like this video, subscribe to my channel and check out my other awesome videos on how to do stuff.